And welcome back to another video, guys. I got some really good stuff. Do me a favor, if you guys want to enter on a giveaway, I might be giving one of these devices away. Smash that thumbs up, leave me a comment below with your funniest clean joke. Now, if this is free tech watching, free tech, you can do whatever kind of jokes you want, but everybody else try to keep it clean. So check this out. How do you choose the correct Fire Stick? Now, some people might not like this one, but I'm going to be very honest with you guys, and I'm going to be very brutal with this. So here are your four FireTV devices. So you got your FireTV Stick Lite, you got the 3rd gen FireTV Stick, and then you got FireTV Stick 4K, and then the FireTV Cube. Now, ignore the number 2 over here. One person just didn't know how to use the remote, while the other person said the device was great. The 3rd gen Fire Stick works fine. So I just want to show you guys the difference and how do you pick which one is right for you. So first thing, let's get this off our chest real quick. So quad processors. So these are 4 processors. All the sticks except for the Cube, which is a hexa-core. So more processors on the Cube, which means more power, more speed. Now, picture quality, these two, the 4K and the Fire Cube, are the only two that are going to pump 4K quality. Now, that doesn't mean if I open up Disney Plus, it's 4K, I'm going to be watching it. Because these devices, they limit. If I'm on the Fire TV Stick Lite and I'm trying to watch Disney Plus 4K, the quality will not be 4K. It'll be a really sharp 1080p. Now, what is the big difference? What is the real big difference? And it's funny that we're talking about 4K because this is what we're going to be talking about. If you have a 60-inch TV or smaller, 60-inch TV or smaller, Fire TV Stick Lite is going to be perfect. Now, I will say this, the Fire TV Stick, the 3rd gen, has a really nice remote with some extra buttons on it that none of the other devices have. But for 30 bucks, that Fire Stick Lite works beautifully. You will not tell if you're watching if you're on Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu, Prime, whatever it is, if they're on 4K quality, you're not going to be able to tell the difference between a 4K or a 1080p if your TV is smaller than 60 inches. 4K really matters once you start getting in size. The bigger the size, more pixels and everything, it matters. Definitely it matters. So we're kind of skipping the 3rd gen Fire Stick a little bit because if you have anything bigger than a 60-inch, the 4K Fire Stick actually is the one that you should be using for a TV that's bigger than 60 inches and that supports 4K or better. But once we start comparing these two, I know 50 bucks to 120 bucks is a big jump, but that Fire TV Cube has built in Alexa, which is great. It has Dolby Atmos and all that stuff, which is another really good one, which we are going to be talking about sound quality in a second between all the devices. Now, if you do have if you spend your money on a better TV, bigger than 60 inches, 4K quality and better, then why not get the Fire Cube? You could hardwire it. It's going to be better with the Wi-Fi. It's going to be a powerful device. You're going to get more power in there, more memory. The storage, this is the only one that's 16 gigs. Everything else is 8 gigs. It just makes sense. The Fire Cube makes sense for your TV if it's bigger than 60 inches and supports 4K and better. Now, where does that leave us with the 4K Fire Stick? It's still a great device. If you don't want to spend that money for the Cube, totally fine. It's going to be a great device for your kids, great device for your entertainment room. So it becomes choice. What do you want to do? Do you want a little bit more memory, or do you really not need that much memory? So that's where it becomes choice. Now, when it comes to surround sound stuff, if you don't have, some people say like, oh, I got a surround sound, I got a play bar. Play bar is not surround sound. Play bar is your sounds coming from the front of the TV And yeah, the speakers are moved in different directions, so that way it bounces off in a different way. But if you don't have a 5.1 or a 7.1 surround sound, even if it's Sonos where it's wireless, a play bar, 2 speakers in the back, and a sub, if you don't have that whole setup, then a Fire Stick Lite makes sense, especially if your TV is not bigger than 60-inch or if it's not a 4K TV. Now, here's the other thing too. If you do have that type of setup, it says HDMI pass-through of Dolby encoded audio, which means the audio that's coming in from Disney Plus or whatever you're watching, whichever app you're watching, it's going to pass through anyway, and your speakers will do it. So does Dolby Atmos really matter at that point? Again, if you don't have a really nice TV and if you don't have a really nice setup for surround sound, it doesn't make sense to go anything higher. So you literally save 20 bucks by doing the Lite. But now, so if you do have if you have a decent TV, you're like, okay, my TV is about 60 inches. Rohas is saying the Lite is going to be good. I don't have to have the 4K. If I have a 60-inch TV and I have a play bar, I'll probably get the 4K Fire Stick, especially if my TV is a 4K TV at 60-inch. I know it's right at that border, but I would probably still go that route because that 4K stick will be a little bit faster than the other two. So where does that leave, again, the 3rd gen Fire Stick? Kind of nowhere. It's kind of like the only difference at that point is you're going to get a better remote between the 4K Fire Stick Lite and the 3rd gen Fire Stick. It comes down to the remote. Now, people might say, well, what's the remote difference then? The Fire Stick Lite, the remote is very, very basic. So if you see it here, it has like no volume controls, and it has that button for the TV, which is a shortcut. It's not for TV, it's to get to the menu within the Fire Stick. So it's not really, that remote is just horrible when it comes to the Lite. Now, if you look at the 3rd gen Fire Stick, this remote is fully set up. Very, very nice. It's got your volume, your mute. It does have that TV set up on the side, and it's got some shortcuts too for Prime, Netflix, Disney, and Hulu. Great, great stuff. Now, the 4K Fire Stick does not have that fancy remote. Now, why not? I have a feeling they're going to be coming out with a new Fire Stick, a new 4K Fire Stick 2nd gen. And it's probably going to include the new remote, and it's probably going to be about $10 more. I have a feeling we're going to be looking at a $60 4K Fire Stick coming soon. So there it is. Wanted to show you guys there, so that way you guys have a good idea which Fire Stick is right for you. And if I confused you, I'm sorry. Just keep rule of thumb. If those and I'll bring the 3rd gen back in place. So rule of thumb is, do you have a 4K Fire TV, 4K TV? If you have a 4K TV, then you pretty much don't need the Lite or the 3rd gen Fire Stick. It cuts those out. Now you have 2 choices: the 4K Fire Stick or the Fire Cube. Those two are great. Now the question that you need to ask: what am I going to download? Am I going to download a lot of apps? If yes, then the Fire TV Cube makes sense. The Fire Stick 4K has 8 gigs of memory, but with all the system apps that's in there, you're left with a little bit over 4 gigs. And we normally say have 2 gigs of free memory or free storage in there. So keep that in mind. If you're going to download some stuff, if you're like, yeah, I got Disney, I got Netflix, I got Hulu, I got ESPN, I got this, I got that, I got whatever, the Fire Cube makes more sense. If you're just like, no, I only have Disney Plus and Hulu, that's it. So 4K Fire Stick makes sense. Now, I don't have a 4K TV. If I don't have a 4K TV, look at the Fire Stick Lite and look at the 3rd gen Fire Stick. And you have to ask yourself, do the remote controls for the volume matter at that point? If you're like, I like the features that I can control my volume on that remote, then the 3rd gen Fire Stick is the one that you need. If you're like, no, I don't really care, I have a soundbar and I have its own remote separate, then the Fire Stick Lite makes more sense. So those are the questions you got to ask yourself. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you do have a Fire Stick or Fire Cube, which Fire TV device do you have and why do you have it? Be interesting to see what you guys have, and if anybody does have that new one, the 3rd gen with that new remote, let us know how you like it. With all that being said, I hope you guys take care of each other, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, guys.